Good afternoon, everybody. I'm Kai and my teammate Frank. We are from EduEarth, and our mission is to ed- educate generations on our home Mother Earth. But let's start with Singapore first. Do you know that? Do you know that 60% in Singapore, 60% of people in Singapore do not know in depth about biodiversity? And current environmental education only takes place within schools and NGOs, and there lacks a way where this is taught in a fun manner. So, to further prove this, current sources of environmental education mostly comes from books and documentaries, and there lacks a way where this is taught in a fun manner. So, we EduEarth aims to gamify the environmental education by introducing card games to targeting youth aged 13 to 21. Introducing Earth Track, an environmental education card game on biodiversity. So the objective of the game is to gather all the baby cards and to build a sustainable population. Types of cards includes character cards, which teaches users what the animals' names are and what requirements are there to mate. And we have requirement card, which teaches users on specific mating behaviors. And baby cards, action cards, and challenge cards, which teaches users on what challenges animals face. For example, road kills and feeding from humans. And booster cards, which teaches users on what currently the government and locals are doing to help biodiversity. Benefits of playing Earth Tracks includes bonding with family and friends, learning what challenges animals face, what the animals' names, and learning how certain animals are brought up from young. But most importantly, you will learn what you should and should not do towards wild animals and what the government and locals are doing to help biodiversity. So our key partners would include student volunteers, game cafes, brick and mortar stores, online stores, social media, and manufacturers. So our timeline would start from February 2022 to June 2023, which we will start by finding volunteers and then do user testing with them. And then we will further develop our idea. And this process will repeat itself until September 2022, where we will start launching Earth Track. We will start launching Earth Track through marketing and partnerships. Afterwards, we will start ideating for partnership. We will start ideating for Earth Track 2.0, which is the expansion pack, and do user testing on it. When we are satisfied, we will launch Earth Track expansion pack and move on to designing our mobile game version to help reach out to more people. And we hope to finish this by June 2023. So moving on to measuring our success, we plan to give each of our volunteers a quiz to help determine how much they have learned from our card game. This is very important as we will learn what they should. We will learn whether the players know what they should or should not do towards our life, and whether if they know what current organizations are there out there for them to join. And we also want 30 institutions to adopt Earth Track as part of our co-curriculum education and 30 positive reviews from environmental organizations. So our budget this is our budget plan. Our projected income will run up to 6,000, 5,000 from the YHC grant, and 1,000 from selling of our card games. And our projected expenditure will come from Instagram ads, TikTok ads, and manufacturing of our card game, renting space to sell our card game, which will run up to 5.1K. Our business model will be the service substantial model. For each card deck sold, 10% will be donated to environmental organizations, and our project team to work with partners on conservation, and education and community partners to incorporate our gamified solution into their initiatives. Small businesses to capture customers outside of the education system. So we also have a zero waste recall program, which pre-loved decks are sent back to us. Pre-loved decks are sent back to us for discount from partners, and those decks will be sent to low-income families and communities. That is all for my pitch. Thank you, everybody.
Thank you, EduEarth. May we please now invite questions or comments from the judges?
Hi. Yeah.
Hi.
Yeah, thanks for the presentation. I think it's a very interesting idea. The card games, I think, is a good way to get in. My question is, in fact, actually, it's a commendation, on your strategy to go towards B2B, as in, you approach the institutions, the schools, the corporates. I think that's a lower barrier. As in, it costs less in terms of the marketing costs and customer acquisition costs to get in. So I think you should definitely go towards that route, because I think the amount of money you're asking is not high enough to last you if you are going towards, consumers, B2C market. All right. So I think it's a good start, entrench yourself with the schools. All right. And then I think that will be a good start for you.
All right. Thank you so much.
Yeah.
Yeah, okay. Yeah, so I like it that it's a card game, so it's a physical game where people can interact, and I see one of the benefits also, like family bonding and things like that. But have you thought of sort of developing this as an online version where potentially it can reach more people without that physical sale or the card itself, although both have benefits. So I just want to hear your thoughts on that. And then secondly is in terms of the animals that you give examples in the deck. Are these exhaustive lists, and why do you choose these animals? Are these wildlife that are found in Singapore, at risk of extinction or at risk of that they're facing that you want to highlight them? And how have you done your research to come up with this list? Thank you.
All right. Thank you for your question. So firstly, in terms of physical versus mobile game, we definitely consider both, and we did our survey, and we realized that there are actually very high interest in both as well. But because we want to target this as part of the co-curricular education in schools, we thought that it might be more appropriate to start off by introducing using physical, so that you have this interaction between students, and the teachers can also be part of the whole experience as well, and also reduce screen time in general. But definitely when there is traction in how this card game is going on, we would, as part of our timeline, we're also looking at the mobile game design as well. Kai personally is very interested in mobile game design. So second question is, animals, right? Yeah. So I study environmental biology in NUS, and I love wildlife conservation. So the list is actually I gather from the wildlife experts who are also my friends. Some of them, some of the species they discovered themselves, very rare in Singapore, and can only be found in Singapore. For example, the leopard cat, not discovered by them, but only about 60 of them remain in Singapore itself. And so these are all very precious animals that are either critically endangered or endangered in Singapore. Yeah.
Thank you, team. So I have a question in terms of your target population for these card games, right? So presently you're looking at between 13 years old to 21 years old?
Yes, around.
Okay, so I'm just trying to kind of understand how you pick this age group, because I'm thinking a 13 to a 14-year-old could be, interested in different things versus 20 to 21. And if we're talking about in schools, etc., it's like a secondary school age all the way to a tertiary age. So how would you make sure that your game has relevance across quite a wide age group?
All right, thank you for your question. So we are targeting youth in general, but I understand that everyone will have different interests, but there's one commonality is that we realize that card games such as your Singaporean Dream, yes, and your Hawker Wars, these are all card games that are played throughout secondary school times to tertiary institutions as well. And the commonality is that people want to play with their friends, people want to have fun with their friends. So even though these knowledge, they are all we are all starting off on a basic level, we have interaction elements where friends can have fun together and make fun with each other, create memories, and bond with their family and friends. So so I think that is the commonality where everyone will share, no matter your age.
Sure. So I just wanted to also then, my last question is that you have a expansion pack. Was that something that you have in plan? Tell me a little bit more about what you want to do as part of this expansion pack and how would this grant actually help you to do that?
Okay, so if you can see from here, right, all the animals we are looking at right now, they are all forest animals. We want to eventually educate about our marine ecosystem as well, given that Singapore is an island nation, that is actually also situated in a coral triangle. We have a very large, very rich marine biodiversity, and we believe that we can go beyond this to educate more about our ecosystem and how to protect it.
Thank you for that.
Thank you so much.
Last question, the part about the impact. How do you measure the impact, in terms of your card game?
Okay, so thank you for the question. We have a volunteer program right now with a few secondary schools, and we are also partnering another YAC team to reach out to more primary school students just to see whether they are also interested as well. And then through this volunteer program, we will administer a quiz before the card game itself. Before we let them try the card game, and after we let them try the card game, to see if there is like an increase in climate knowledge after playing our card game. We will also be looking out for incident, so kind of like ecology news to see whether there are an increase in environmental awareness. So whether people are taking up more nature actions, and we will also be surveying whether our customers are taking up more environmentally aware actions as well. Yeah.
Okay, thank you.
Thank you.
Thank you, EduEarth team and judges for their questions and comments. I'm afraid that's all the time we have for the Q&A segment. So may we please invite EduEarth team to return to your seats.